What if procrastination isn't a bad habit, but a quiet form of self-betrayal you repeat every day? For years, you've told yourself you'll start tomorrow, after you feel ready, after life calms down, after motivation arrives. But tomorrow never shows up clean. It shows up crowded, louder, heavier, and you fold again. Today, you'll discover 7 brutal Stoic laws that will destroy procrastination by rewiring how you see time, discomfort, and your own identity. You'll learn why waiting is a trap, why feelings are unreliable commanders, and how to become the kind of person who moves, especially when you don't want to. Watch till the end. The law you skip might be the one you need most. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, commander of armies, a man drowning in responsibility, didn't write meditations to impress anyone. He wrote it to correct himself, to discipline his own mind. And one of his most famous reminders is aimed directly at the moment you wake up and don't want to move. In Meditations, Book 5, he writes, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I have to go to work as a human being.'" He's not romanticizing productivity. He's calling out the lie that you were born to stay comfortable. Seneca, advisor to Nero, a man who watched power corrupt everything, warned that procrastination doesn't merely waste time, it wastes life. In his letters to Lucilius, he says, "While we are postponing, life speeds by. Not might speed by. It is speeding by, right now, while you hesitate." And Epictetus, the former slave who became Stoicism's sharpest teacher, begins the Enchiridion with the foundation. Some things are in our control, and others not. Procrastination is what happens when you obsess over what isn't yours. Mood, perfect timing, guaranteed outcomes, and neglect what is yours. Choice, action, effort. This matters now because modern life is engineered to weaken your will. Endless stimulation, infinite scrolling, constant comparison. Your attention is under siege, and procrastination is the default outcome when your mind has no commander. In this video, we'll explore 7 brutal Stoic laws that will harden your discipline, collapse hesitation, and make action your new identity. And the most ruthless law is coming near the end. But before we get to that, you need to understand the first law, the one that exposes procrastination for what it truly is. Lesson 1. Time is a river you don't get to step back in. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current. No sooner is a thing brought to sight than it is swept by." This profound truth has guided warriors, leaders, and philosophers for centuries. Most people treat time like a bank account that refills overnight. The Stoics treat time like a current that never reverses. That's the difference. Procrastination thrives when you believe delay is neutral, when you imagine later is a safe storage room for your goals. But psychologically, your brain discounts the future. It undervalues distant rewards and overvalues immediate comfort. That's why the bed feels heavier, the task feels larger, and the distraction feels sweeter. Delay is not a pause, it is a trade. You exchange life force for relief. This law solves the fantasy that you can catch up. You tell yourself you'll do it after work, after the weekend, after you feel inspired. Then, weeks pass. Your to-do list becomes a graveyard of promises. And the worst part isn't the unfinished work, it's what it does to your self-respect. Because every time you delay, you teach yourself a brutal lesson. My word means nothing, and once your word collapses, so does your confidence. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, ask one question: what am I trading this hour for? Make it concrete. Name the cost. Because vague time disappears, Name time becomes sacred. Then take the smallest irreversible action within 2 minutes. Open the document, put on the shoes, write the first sentence, send the first email. Not to finish, just to enter the river. And finally, use a hard boundary. Set a timer for 20 minutes of focused work. When the timer starts, your only job is presence. The river doesn't care about your mood, but your future self does. Weak minds beg time for mercy. Strong minds command themselves inside time's brutality. Most people wait for motivation like peasants waiting for a king to arrive. But you are not a peasant, you are the commander. You don't need more time, you need more truth. Time is moving, the current is strong, and you either move with it or you get swept away with excuses in your mouth and regret in your hands. But recognizing time is a river isn't enough, because even when you know time is slipping, you can still freeze. That's why the next law is about something harsher than time. It's about control. Let's move to Lesson 2. Lesson 2. The dichotomy of control. Stop negotiating with the unownable. Epictetus opens the Enchiridion with a blade-sharp line. Some things are in our control and others not. This profound truth has guided warriors, leaders, and philosophers for centuries. Procrastination is often disguised perfectionism. You delay because you want certainty. Certainty you'll do it well. Certainty you won't be judged. Certainty it will work. But certainty is not yours. Outcomes are not yours. Other people's reactions are not yours. What is yours is effort, attention, choice. The Stoic mind stops bargaining with what it cannot own. It stops asking, will this succeed? And starts asking, will I act with excellence? Modern psychology agrees. When tasks feel threatening, emotion takes the wheel. Your mind tries to regulate discomfort through avoidance. Stoicism flips the script. Regulate discomfort through action. This law solves the paralysis of what if? What if I fail? What if it's not perfect? What if they laugh? What if I waste my time? And so you sit there, stuck, scrolling, planning, preparing. You call it research, you call it optimization. But deep down you know the truth. You are hiding from the feeling of risk. And the longer you hide, the bigger the task becomes in your imagination. Tomorrow, write 2 sentences on paper. First, not up to me, results, praise, perfect conditions. Second, up to me, starting, persisting, improving. Then define success as process, not outcome. If you're writing, success is 30 minutes of honest writing. If you're training, success is showing up and completing the session. If you're building a business, success is making the call, sending the pitch, publishing the offer. And when your mind screams for certainty, answer it with one line. I don't need certainty, I need courage. Most people live like gamblers, waiting for a guarantee before they place a bet on themselves. But you're not here to gamble, you're here to build. When you reclaim control, you reclaim power. You stop being a victim of mood and circumstance. You become a man who acts cleanly, even in uncertainty. That's what freedom looks like. But even with control clarified, there's still a deeper enemy, the belief that you must feel ready before you act. That lie destroys more lives than failure ever could. Let's move to Lesson 3. Lesson 3. Feelings are, weather duty is the compass. Stoic. Quote, Introduction, 50 words. Marcus Aurelius wrote about mornings when the body rebels. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. This profound truth has guided warriors, leaders, and philosophers for centuries. The modern world worships feelings. Follow your passion, wait for inspiration. The Stoics call that slavery. Feelings are weather patterns, real, present, and constantly changing. If you obey them, your life becomes random. Duty, to the Stoic, isn't misery, it's alignment. It means you do the work of a human being. You create, you build, you serve, you endure, not because you feel like it, but because it's worthy. Neuroscience backs this. Action often precedes motivation. When you start, your brain shifts, momentum builds, threat decreases, clarity increases. You don't think your way into action. You act your way into strength. This law solves the trap of waiting to be in the mood, because the mood rarely comes before the work, it comes after. You've felt it, the dread before starting, the calm after starting, the pride after finishing. But when you obey feeling, you train your nervous system to avoid discomfort. And avoidance doesn't just delay tasks, it shrinks your courage. Then, one day, you don't just procrastinate on work, you procrastinate on your own life. Tomorrow morning, practice the Stoic first step ritual. Before any thinking, do one physical action that signals duty. Make the bed, splash cold water, stand upright, and say, I move first. I feel later. Then choose a single keystone task and begin with a 5-minute entry, not a full session, just 5 minutes. The purpose is to cross the threshold. Finally, when resistance hits, name it as weather. Say, this is discomfort. It can rain while I march. You don't need it to stop raining to move. Most people want a comfortable path. You want a true one. The weak man asks, how do I feel? The strong man asks, what is required? You were not built to be ruled by moods. You were built to command them. Let the weather rage. You keep walking. Now you can start, even when you don't feel like it. But starting isn't the whole battle. Because procrastination has a second weapon, the illusion that you have endless time. That's why lesson 4 is ruthless. Lesson 4, Memento Mori, act as if this is your last repetition. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. This profound truth has guided warriors, leaders, and philosophers for centuries. This isn't about panic, it's about precision. When you remember death, you stop lying to yourself about time. You stop treating hours like disposable cups. The Stoics used mortality as a mental blade. It cuts through triviality, it forces you to see what matters, and it exposes procrastination as arrogance, because procrastination assumes you'll have later. But later is not promised, later is not owed. Seneca's warning strikes the same nerve. While we are postponing, life speeds by. Delay is not harmless, it is life slipping through your fingers. This law solves complacency, the way you drift through days half awake, the way you keep your real goals in a sealed room, telling yourself you'll open it someday. And then one day, you realize your procrastination wasn't just avoiding tasks, it was avoiding your potential, it was avoiding responsibility. It was avoiding the burden of becoming the man you said you would become. Tomorrow, take 60 seconds and do a Stoic death rehearsal. Sit still. Imagine your life from 10 years in the future. Imagine what you regret not doing. Then return to the present and ask, what would future me beg me to start today? Then apply last act intensity to the first 30 minutes of your day, not the whole day, just the first. That's where identity is forged. And when you catch yourself delaying, use one brutal question. If I died in a year, would I still be waiting? If the answer is no, move now. Most people need a crisis to wake up, but you don't. You can wake up on command. Death is not your enemy. It is your accountability partner. It stands behind you, silent, and it makes your excuses sound childish. Live like a man who knows the hour is not infinite. But here's what many people miss. Even when death sharpens you, the mind can still wander into endless theory and planning. That's why Lesson 5 is the Stoic punch to the mouth. Let's go. Lesson 5. Action over argument. Stop thinking about the man, be the man. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This profound truth has guided warriors, leaders, and philosophers for centuries. Procrastination often hides inside philosophy itself. You watch videos, read books, collect quotes, build systems. It feels productive. But it's not transformation, it's consumption. Stoicism is not an aesthetic, it's a practice. Marcus is telling you, stop debating, stop rehearsing, stop fantasizing. Embody it. Modern psychology calls this the action-identity loop. Identity shapes behavior, but behavior also shapes identity. When you act, even in small ways, you become the kind of person who acts. When you delay, you become the kind of person who delays. Your habits are votes for the man you are becoming. This law solves analysis paralysis. You can spend months perfecting a plan and still be at zero. You can organize your life into beautiful categories and still be weak when it matters. And the pain is sharp because you know what to do. You've heard enough. Your problem isn't information. Your problem is obedience to comfort, to distraction, to the weak self that wants the reward without the labor. Tomorrow, choose one area where you've been arguing instead of doing. Fitness, business, relationships, study. Then do one concrete act that proves seriousness. If it's fitness, train. If it's business, ship an offer. If it's relationships, have the hard conversation. If it's study, start the problem set. Then impose a rule, no more than 10 minutes of planning before first action. Planning is allowed only after you've started. This flips your nervous system from fantasy to reality. And when you feel the urge to consume more content, say, I don't need another idea, I need another repetition. Most people want to feel wise. You want to become dangerous to procrastination, to weakness, to the lazy version of yourself. Stop performing discipline, start practicing it. The world doesn't reward your intentions, it rewards your execution. Be the man. Now you're moving. But staying consistent requires more than intensity, it requires structure. Because your brain doesn't fail from laziness, it fails from overload. That brings us to Lesson 6, the law of friction. Lesson 6. Remove friction. Discipline is often design. Seneca wrote to Lucilius about guarding the one thing you truly possess. Nothing, Lucilius, is ours, except time. This profound truth has guided warriors, leaders, and philosophers for centuries. Stoicism isn't only willpower, it's wisdom. And wisdom asks, why are you making virtue harder than it needs to be? Procrastination thrives when the starting cost is high, when your workspace is chaotic, when your phone is within reach, when the task is undefined, when the first step is ambiguous. Your brain is an efficiency machine. If the path to distraction is easier than the path to duty, you will accidentally choose distraction again and again. This is not moral weakness, it's environmental engineering. The Stoic doesn't complain about temptation, he removes its leverage. This law solves the daily leak of energy, the micro-delays, the repeated just a second, the constant switching. You don't lose your life in one catastrophic failure, you lose it in tiny surrenders that feel harmless. One notification, one extra video, one more snack, one more postponement. And suddenly the day is gone and you're left staring at the same unfinished life. Finally, define the task in physical terms, not work on project. Say, write 300 words, not study. Say, do 20 practice problems. Clarity collapses avoidance. Weak men rely on motivation. Strong men rely on systems that make virtue easier than vice. You don't need to become superhuman. You need to become strategic. You are not battling the task. You are battling the doorway into the task. Make the doorway small. Step through. But there's still one reason you delay that no system can fully erase: discomfort, the fear, the boredom, the frustration. That's why Lesson 7 is the most brutal and the most liberating. You'll avoid the deep work, the hard conversation, the lonely discipline, the uncomfortable repetitions that separate the strong from the average, and average, over time, becomes a prison. Not because you lacked talent, but because you refused discomfort. Tomorrow, choose one discomfort you've been dodging. Then practice Stoic voluntary hardship for 5 minutes. Do the difficult part first. Write the awkward email. Make the call. Start the workout with the hardest set. Begin the essay with the thesis, not the fluff. Then, when discomfort rises, do not soothe it with distraction. Sit with it for 10 breaths. Let it exist. This is training. This is how you build a nervous system that doesn't flinch. Finally, reward the act, not the outcome. Tell yourself, I did the hard thing. I kept faith. That's how the identity forms. Most people run from the forge. You walk into it. Most people treat discomfort like a warning sign. You treat it like a GPS. It points toward growth. And here's the cliffhanger truth. If you think tolerating discomfort is power, the final part is even stronger. Because it turns discipline from something you do into something you are. But knowing how to endure discomfort still isn't the end. Because you can endure once, twice, and still fall back into old identity. The last step is the identity lock. Let's close this with the final principle. You just received 7 brutal Stoic laws that don't comfort you, they command you. The first law taught you time is a river, and hesitation is a tax you can't afford. The second law cut through illusion by separating what you control from what you don't. The third law exposed feelings as weather and duty as the compass that doesn't lie. The fourth law forced urgency into your bones. Act as if this is your last act. The fifth law demanded embodiment. Stop arguing about the man, be the man. The sixth law reminded you that discipline is often design and attention must be defended. And the seventh law turned the enemy into fuel. Discomfort is the forge, and you were built to withstand heat. These aren't just ideas, they're tools to destroy procrastination by rebuilding your identity from the inside out. You don't need to become motivated. You need to become the kind of man who moves when it's hard. Because that's the only man who wins. So here's your command. Today, pick one task you've been delaying. Do the first 2 minutes. Enter the river. Prove to yourself that your word still means something. Tap like if this resonated with you. Drop your affirmation in the comments which law hit hardest. Say it clearly. I move first, I feel later. And subscribe for unapologetic Stoic truth every single week. Become the master of your mind. Rebuild, refocus, rise.